Hello, everyone.
Hi, beautiful soul family. How are you guys? We missed you.
We were just waiting on the couch, reading all your beautiful comments and all the love that you're showing and filling our hearts with it.
See,
And
it's real. This thing is real. As soon as I click the go live button, my eyes are watering. I feel your emotions. I feel your
yeah,
love.
our soul family is becoming more and more bonded together, and we all feel it more every time we meet each other, every time we get together in this cyber space.
Don't think we're always crying. We're not, literally,
We're a
right?
bunch of mushballs.
We're a bunch of mush balls, but still. Like I literally pressed live and hello, everybody. And immediately I felt that surge
The
of
one thing
emotion.
that every single sentient being in this universe craves is love.
Yeah.
And
And
it
we
doesn't
have so
matter
much of
how
it.
ascended you are, whether you're an angel or ascended master or human or criminal, everybody just craves love. And when we receive that, our souls cry from
Yes.
happiness.
And I just want to say that I see so much love within our soul family. It feels like a different dimension. Our soul family, it literally feels like when we come together, our hive mind is in a different dimension, does it not? There's so much magic taking place. There are people organizing Zoom calls and inviting others. There's people like from the Tulum chat group. The other day I was there and there's so much action. Somebody said, "Hey, I'm doing healings." And like it's like a thriving community. It's a thriving marketplace, but within the beautiful guidelines of 5D where nobody is overstepping and everything is in such harmony. So I love you guys so much. We have an amazing topic for you today. And I was actually guided to bring out my green bowl. So we're just going to start with a 1 minute harmonization of the field. Welcome, everybody.
And I just wanted to start by saying the energies are intense AF, okay? And we had to literally like get our asses in shape and go uphill, like literally
I can't
swim
believe we're here.
upstream to get to this point because I was lying in bed and for the past 2 weeks I've been this like in my grumpy ascension stage, as Eldora likes to call it.
Okay, okay. Are you guys ready? I'm so glad you brought this up.
I brought it
So
on myself.
Siman
Bring it
is a
on.
freaking he has two faces, okay? He has two faces. 99% of the time, he's this perfect human being. So perfect that he's like a robot. So perfect, never gets mad, never projects, never gets angry, never has
I still don't
insecurities.
project when I'm in ascension.
We'll get there. Never projects, no insecurities, never raises his voice, never speaks demeaning, never belittles anyone. Okay, he's like that kind of a guy. But when he's going through upgrades, he is like literally, I said to him today, I said, "You're like your father." He's like,
No,
"What?"
that's the worst. How could you say that?
He's like his father. He's
I'm
so
not like my
like
father. My
the way
father is
he
very
talks,
treaty, no
like
disrespect.
he's so condescending.
No, I just want to be in my own space.
Like I'll ask him something and he'll say, "What?"
Okay, my when I'm
Yesterday
going
I
through
was
ascension
driving.
upgrades, when
Okay,
I'm going
listen,
through
guys.
ascension upgrades, okay, let me chip in. My chakras are open like crazy. Okay, if you think a third eye is supposed to be this big, mine's like a ballooning bunker. It's like this big, and all the information is coming in, and I'm like, fuck my life, right? Like I can fucking feel the neighborhood's emotions, and in that state, I'm become like I want to go inwards. I want to go in my own circle. I want to enclose myself. I want to be in a Faraday cage where I cannot even pick up anyone else's energy but mine. And in that, I do admit I've become a bit crabby. Like
So crabby.
if you
Oh my
don't know
god.
what state I'm in, you'll be shocked.
And I've gotten to the point that I find it so hilarious because he's like this 99% of the time such a perfect like person. And that
Do you guys go through
1%,
that too?
oh my god,
I'm
he's
sure you guys
irritated,
go
he's
through.
grumpy, and I
But
just find it
but it's
adorable.
important even in that state. I don't think I'm perfect, but we try our best not to project on
Oh, yeah,
others.
yeah.
We communicate with love what our boundaries are. So ascension symptoms are not a free ticket to project on others and throw your shit around. But we do the best we can, right, guys?
Yes. All right, guys, let's get started. We're going to talk about the solar flash, the event today, and we're going to try and go as deep as possible while keeping it so real that everybody, our intention is for everyone watching to really get it, to really just get it, saying, okay, it's this one video, other than, and in addition to all the other videos that we've already watched on this topic, I want this one video to be that top video where
It's like a reference video.
it's like you just watch it and then your curiosity about it goes away, and instead it moves into what do I need to do. So that's our intention for this video, because there is a lot for us to do, and it's important that we don't get caught up in the story of waiting for the solar flash. But once we know why it's coming, what's happening, what's in it for us, what do we need to do, then we can stop focusing on getting more information, trying to understand about the solar flash, and instead start preparing for the solar flash.
Right. And also, I wanted to preface this video by saying that there are multiple timelines that are possible to manifest on Earth. So not one of these timelines has crystallized that this is the way the ascension is going to move forward. So what we're presenting today is some of the possible timeline scenarios that we've been presented with, some of the possible timelines and dates, and how events will unfold, and what you need to do to look out for each scenario, and what to expect, and dispel any kind of myths or kind of like people guessing, but provide more clarity. And when we say provide more clarity, we say this is what we've been told and this is what resonates within our cells, and you have to decide what resonates within your cells and pick up what feels good to you, what feels like the truth to you.
Truth will always resonate in your body. Untruth will always not resonate in your body. So that's the best way for you guys when you're listening to any video, any channeling. Truth will make you feel good. Even if they're talking about your favorite subject and you feel crappy, it means there's something off in that person's field. But if you're listening to someone and you're feeling uplifted, positive, it means truth cells are ringing in your body. One thing to be aware of is when you're watching people and you get triggered and then you feel not good. That's not the same. It's a different situation. But anyway, that's not what this video is about. Close your eyes, everybody. Let's harmonize the field. Starting to take some deep cleansing, clearing breaths in. And exhaling deeply and slowly, pushing out any negativity, any stress from your system. Let's do that again. Deep, calm, cleansing breath in. Hold at the top. Hold and let it go. Allowing yourself to get present to this experience that awaits you, present to this soul family transmission that we have prepared just for you, with all our love, where we sit and talk just like the old times, just like in Atlantis. We sit and we share stories. We share our love. We share our love for one another. We uplift one another. We comfort one another. We have deep respect and gratitude for one another. Allowing our hearts to burst open with the gratitude we feel in this moment. Let us invite our spirit fully into our body for this experience over the next hour, hour and a half or so, where we and you and the rest of our soul family, we're all sitting down in sacred communication with each other. Gently wiggling your toes, opening your eyes. Let's get started.
That was beautiful.
I feel so much love for everybody watching. I feel so much love for myself, so much love for everything right now. I just feel like we are some of the luckiest beings in the galaxy to be in such momentous times, in such historic times, not just be in it, but be the frontliners of its soul family. We are the ascending tribes. We are making history. We're going down in the Akashic records. So, I want to start this video about the solar flash. We're going to go deep in it. We're going to answer many questions that our audience asked us in our Telegram chat. But I want to start with a story. So, first of all, many of you know it, especially those of you who've been following us for the past little while. We've been on for about 2 years now. That's when we started our channel. We've been telling you guys everything pretty much that we've been getting guidance on. And a few weeks ago or a month ago, you remember there was a voice of God activation that happened to Siman. It was shortly after solstice, or I think it was on solstice. It was the most powerful activation he has ever received and the most potent frequency that any of us have ever felt. And in that moment, in that activation, which we recorded and we even posted it on our YouTube channel, it's, I think, called the Voice of God Transmission. Yeah. If you haven't watched it, definitely check it out. He knew that something was going to come out of him. We were a group of 12, that is us and our Office of Christ members. We were a group of 12 sitting in a circle, and everyone was looking at Siman. We knew something was about to come out. And he literally said to people, he says, I literally have no idea what I'm about to say, which is very rare because usually we have some kind of an idea. And the minute he opened his mouth, he started talking about the event. Yeah. And we were all like, why are they talking about the event? The guides don't just talk about the event. They don't just, it's actually what they least talk about with us. So that happened, and they spoke about for 15 minutes was how to, like, about the event. And they were talking directly to us. It was not a transmission for you guys. It was a transmission for us, but we recorded it and we put it up. Anyway, so then this is something I wanted to also share. I actually had a very vivid experience of what we light workers, activated light workers, will go through during the event. And I was actually guided to share that with you and start this whole transmission with that story. So many of you guys know that Siman and I were on a juice fast last week. We were on a juice fast preparing for Lionsgate to raise our frequency before Lionsgate. We went on a 4-day juice fast. And on the last day, it was in Kent, here in England. On the very last day, Siman was in the spa. And something happened, and it was so funny. Our spa appointments got intermixed. So instead of him going first, I ended up going first. And anytime something like that happens, there's always a reason for it. So I went back to my room. I said to Siman, when you're done, you just come back to the room. I went to the room, and right outside my room, one of the girls was from our retreat. She was probably in her late 40s. I'm not sure. I mean, we met a few people in our retreat, but we didn't really meet any of them. We just got our juices and went our way. So we were like the non-social people in the retreat. But this lady was literally crying her lungs out. She was bawling and bawling and bawling. And you'll see how this relates to the solar flash. It's so interesting. I mean, to me, it was like, what? It's crazy. So she was really crying hysterically. And the retreat manager was right in front of her. So I just looked at her. I smiled. I said, I'm sending you my love. And I went in my room. I had no interest to help her, coach her, none of that. I wasn't guided to do that. I went in my room, I had a long shower, I came out, I closed all the blinds and the window and everything, and I just started meditating. And then I started hearing her go ballistic, like I could hear it through my closed window and door. So I got the guidance saying, now, go now. And Siman wasn't there. Usually I would just say to Siman, go, because when I'm with him, he's the person who is the healer usually. So there's so much going on here but I want to stay strong to the story because something magnificent happened. So anyway, I went outside. I was very clear, and it was like this huge wave of calmness just overtook me. I was in my 100%, 110% mastery. I went outside, and this retreat lady, there are two people from the retreat. One is a trained professional hypnotherapist, and one is just a retreat manager who holds space. And the lady who's supposed to hold space, she kept, because this lady was having seizures. She was having crazy seizures, but her whole face had like just literally been pulled to the back. And all I said was, what caused this? That's all I wanted to. I said, what caused this? And the lady said, alcohol. She's not supposed to drink, but she drank a lot on the retreat, and this caused it. As soon as she said that, I was like, I know exactly what I need to do. So while all of this is happening, the retreat lady who's like supposed to hold space is screaming, shit, 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 shit. And this is important, you'll see why. So what happened was, as soon as I went to this lady, this Italian lady who was like, like everybody around her thought she would go drop dead any moment. Like it was severe. Okay, it was severe. It was a 20
Just
on a 10.
yelling, screaming,
No, she
like
was
body
like her whole
convulsing.
body was like this pulled back, and it looked like something had possessed her. So anyway, I went right outside. This lady was screaming shit, and this is what was very interesting. I went in, and in that situation, this girl had no access to me, and I had no access to her if I was just a normal person. But since I'm an activated light worker, and many of you, even if you're not at this phase, many of you are on the path to very soon becoming very activated light workers. Many of you in our soul family are going to get activated as fuck. I've told you guys this before. You're just getting your last few lessons, and some of you have longer to go, some of you have lesser to go. That's not the point, but everyone's going there. And this is important. That's what the solar flash is all about. We need you by the solar flash because this is what they're showing me. So I went into this lady, and this girl, the other girl's going shit, and this girl's acting like completely demonically possessed. And I suddenly, literally lifted her soul and went up to a higher dimension. And in that dimension, I had full access to her. So literally, I was super calm. And this is very important for you to remember that anytime you're in a situation like this, or like the event, which we'll get into, you're being asked to be as calm as you can, because your calmness is what's going to heal everything, is what's going to heal the situation, is going to heal and control the chaos. It's going to heal and control the 3D people going crazy and ballistic, like what's going on. So what happened was I was so calm that I literally felt like we went into another dimension where we were fully aware in 3D what was going on, but we were not in 3D. And in that dimension, I was able to access her clearly. Like I would say to her, open up your root chakra, let all the excess go to earth. And she would start doing it. And it was really pissing off the other lady who was the trained hypnotherapist who was right there, because she was using all her NLP and all these like things she's been taught in textbooks, like breathe, honey. And this girl is not even responding to her, like take a deep breath, because they don't care. They're just trying to do their job.
They're following like a guidebook.
Yes, and guys, this was what was shown to me. This hypnotherapist was just doing her job, and her only job was, when the hell will the ambulance come so that I'm done with this headache? As a light worker, what mode we go into is, oh my God, this lady, I don't care if she's 3D, I don't care if she's an alcoholic. This lady is going through such a hard time right now. What can I do to comfort her and ease her pain? That's all I was thinking about. So in that, I was able to, I even took some water, I put it on her neck, and I completely got her. And this had apparently happened for like 7 times, these seizures. Within like 3 or 4 minutes, I got her to be in a completely calm state. Not only that, I even got her to like lay on the floor and ground, and she was like following my instructions in that phase as if you and I are talking, and the hypnotherapist was speaking, and this girl was not able to get a single word of her. So why did the guides ask me to start with this story? First of all, it was very powerful to see what happened. The guides are saying that during the solar flash, be prepared for something similar. Many of you are in lower 4D. Actually, most of you are not in lower 4D. Most of you are in mid 4D. Let's get into it real quick. What is lower 4D? Lower 4D is still the realm of heavy ego. So if you have like extreme spiritual ego where you think you're the shit and you're spiritual as fuck and everybody else is not spiritual, and you have this sense of spiritual ego, if you're a narcissistic, but spiritual ego is the easiest way you can identify, then you're still in low 4D. You guys haven't even come across the threshold yet.
And just to clarify, most people who are in these lower 4D or mid 4D or high 4D, they won't know themselves if they're there. Like you could think, I've done all my ego lessons, but when it really hits you in the face, you realize how much more there is to do. So always be open when you're listening to these terms. Don't jump to conclude that, oh, I'm done this, I'm not that. Always ask the reverse. Shit, do I still have anything like that resonate within me? And always like dig deep.
Exactly. So lower 4D. So many of you are in mid 4D. Actually, most of our soul family is in mid 4D, where they're progressing along. They're progressing. Their lessons are going forward. If they ever get triggered, they own their triggered. If they're ever projecting on someone, they own their projections. If they have envy is a very, very low vibration. So if you're still in envy, you're still at somewhat vibrating in the low 4D. You're not, but if you have envy and you say, shit, I have envy, but I'm going to overcome it. I'm not going to be envious anymore, but I'm going to tell myself that I can have it too. I am beautiful too. I am pretty too. I am quantum too. I am intelligent too. So you go through all of that. But why was I going to 3D, 4D, 5D? I don't know what thought I had of going there, but basically, when the solar flash occurs, and he's going to go in next about what causes the solar flash, how does it happen, how does it like affect and ripple across the whole universe, to our whole galaxy, what are all the changes it leads to. But what happens is during the solar flash, the guides are saying that this is something that can be expected, where people are lying around.
I think you were connecting 4D,
Oh,
mid
right.
4D, and
Right.
this to the story of how 3D people will be
Yeah.
affected, how lower 4D people
You want to
will
get
be
into that now?
affected.
Sure.
Isn't that what you were
we can talk
going
about
towards?
that now.
Okay.
So how will Siman's going to go talk about the solar flash in a bit, but let's talk about how the solar flash will even affect 3D, 4D, and so in 4D, how will it affect the three categories of 4D? So 3D people will have two options. They will either they will definitely see that, oh my god, something's happened, but most of them will go back to just the regular ways of being. They'll just go back to life. They'll say, oh my god, nothing happened. No, we're not going to believe it. They'll go back to having their parties and their potlucks and their campfires, and then
3D
they'll
people
see
are the ones who are completely disconnected from spirituality or any presence beyond the physical realm.
yes,
That's what we term 3D.
Yes.
They're locked in 3
they're still in
dimensions.
third density consciousness. They're in 3D consciousness. They're still in the matrix and they don't even know it. And there's no judgment when we say 3D, because every single one of us has traversed 3D. Every single one of us has traversed everything. We've all been the murderer. We've all been the rapist. So there's never any judgment, but it's very factual who's vibrating what. So what's going to happen with 3D is they'll have a rude awakening. Their lessons will get harder and harder, but there will be two polarities. So for example, let's say you're in your house and the solar flash happens, and you're an awakened starseed, you're a light worker, but your partner is completely asleep. Your children are completely asleep. Some of your partners will be very favorable to it. They'll say, oh my god, I can't believe what just happened. I literally saw that rainbow colored energy. I can't deny it. And everything my wife has been talking about for the past few months is probably right, because I've been thinking she's a nut job, and it's kind of making sense. And they will really start looking at you as teachers. The other polarity of the more stubborn ones will say, okay, all of this happened, but you know what? You're an alien. This is actually the timeline that we were also shown is many of them may go against their own partners because they say, hey, this is too much for me. You're acting like an alien right now. You're acting like a possessed creature right now. You're talking about angels and demons, and you're too much for me. I want to leave. So both will happen, and how they react is really up to them, but it shows their consciousness. Some will want to keep evolving, some won't.
In this ascension, every single soul has to make a soul level choice to ascend or not. So free will is at play.
Yeah. You want to tell them about low 4D?
Yeah. So we covered 3D. Lower 4D is what we term people who still have many ego lessons, and they are unconsciously projecting their negativity towards others rather than owning their lessons and taking responsibility for their own actions. And they have many blind spots in their psyche. So many of our narcissist exes, many criminals, all of the criminals are like fully 3D, sorry. But 4D people are like kind of like spiritual, like they're aware of angels and demons, but at the same time, they're not aware of themselves. So they focus more on the outside world. They're like, oh, what's the news? What's CERN? What's happening with the governments? But they're not doing their own inner work. And when their partner or children have a problem, they just get into arguments. So these kind of people will have, because they have more spiritual lessons to learn, when the solar flash occurs, they'll not ascend right away. So this is to clarify that when the solar flash occurs, it's not a one-time fix for everything. You still have spiritual lessons, and it's not like a one-time solar flash where it just happens and we pass through it and we're all ascended. So that's the first myth to dispel. The solar flash has been happening, and there will be a gradual procession where humanity will be given chunks of time in order to access their higher evolution. And they also have to act on free will. Some people will literally be in New Earth, but they'll not be on the ascension path. They'll just want to chug along and retain the minimum baseline to be on New Earth. So that's 4D.
No, but hold on.
Lower
I want to
4D.
go into a little bit more. So, lower 40 people, so those who are vibrating in lower 40 will form their own communities. But unlike 3D, where they're still in denial, the lower 40 people will actually be aware that, oh my God, while we're in our community still learning about ego and still learning about insecurity, look at what all these people are doing in like the higher 40s. It won't be termed
Yeah,
higher 40s,
exactly.
but the mid 40s will start having communities. Now this is what's important. Those of you, most of our soul family actually watching, I have to say most because there's still a lot of people who watch us who are heavily polarized in their ego, but they're constantly making their they're constantly doing their work to come back. There are still people who are very much in their ego, so recognize that this is not a bad thing. Recognize that this is just a part of who we are. And the reason I bring it up is only because I want to mirror to you in a shocking way that we all have negatively polarized ego, because by the solar flash we want all of us to make the positive timelines, which are the highest bliss, not just the mediocre timelines. So let's go back to what we were talking about, the mid 40s. Now, the mid 40 people, like many of you, who are doing the work, who are peaceful people, who are compassionate, who are warm, who are in your hearts. That's the most important thing. Like the entry is you have to be in your heart, not in your head, not in your ego, but in your heart, in your gratitude, in your reverence, in your humility, also in your power. Service to others, not just a selfish service to self. What will happen is we will all go from carbon to crystalline, so we will upshift very quickly to our crystalline frequencies, and our DNA will receive an immediate upgrade after the solar flash, and instantly, literally, our psychic gifts will explode. Our all kinds of super, I don't know what's going on, but I'm like feeling very,
Allergic?
yeah, like this sudden, I don't know what it is, but anyway. So yeah, the 4D community, that's why I'm like so agitated.
Yeah. So the difference between lower 40 and mid 40 is basically like mid 40 is still people who have work to do, but at least they know they have work to do. That's the deciding factor if you're in mid 40. And people who suddenly realize, holy shit, like they've been shedding light on their egos and they've been realizing I still have all these lessons to work on. And sometimes I can be a jerk to others and I can improve my behavior. So when you start owning your shit, then you're in mid 40. Then you realize, oh, I thought I had no curriculum, but I had a shitload of curriculum ahead of me. But what will happen to mid 4Ds is that right now our evolution is accelerating at a rapid pace. But what the solar flash will do, it will give a divine dispensation to all of humanity. So what that means is that whether you're in 3D, lower 4D, mid 4D, higher 4D, 5D, even 6D, everyone will be shifted upwards. Everyone will be forwarded because of divine, like God's compassion will shower on all of us, basically. And that's what the solar flash
yes.
is. And what that means is that for a lot of us, like if you have 80% of karma to wipe out, you may be left with 40%. But it's not going to be all done for you, because God also, out of his unconditional love, doesn't rob us of our lessons. He still wants us to progress forward and take forward what we need to learn. Because New Earth is all about ascending it further in our evolution. The whole orientation of this planet will change from making more money and being more popular to who's vibrating the highest light. Light will be the new flex after New Earth.
And those emanating light will be the celebrities. And I use celebrities in a, which is not really an apt word here, but they'll be the rock stars of New Earth. New Earth is all going to be frequency based. And another thing will happen to those in the mid 4D communities is that many of the mid 40s, which is what we really need, we are training. So one of our soul's mission is that we're training the leaders of New Earth. We are training the visionaries of New Earth, because there's not enough leaders on the planet. So leadership training is one of our top focuses when we when we get the right people to the right frequency, which is why you're all on such an advanced mystery school. So what's going to happen is many of you are going to be trained on the ways of, the laws of one. You're going to be trained on all these raw teachings coming in, and many mystery schools will form. So what will happen is, the lower 40 communities that have been formed, many of us will visit them and we'll teach them curriculum and they'll learn from us. And it'll be very obvious once the solar flash happens. They're not going to be like, oh, who are you to teach us? They're going to be like, oh my God, we want to be like you. Like it'll be very obvious who emanates light, and it's going to be very obvious who has more psychic skills, who is more telepath. It's going to be very obvious.
So
So
basically,
everything will shift.
all the people who are in higher 4D, like above mid 4D, like by higher 4D, we mean anyone who's done their lessons and they can see their final stages of ascension on the horizon. And that means in the tree of life, you're more like in the third, above the neck area, in the third eye, and in the crown area. And you're learning the finer lessons of ascension. You're learning how to be in unconditional love and harmony. You've quietened your mind. You've balanced your ego. You never project on others. That's a requirement of being on 4D, upper 4D. These kind of people, they will get a divine dispensation that will move them forward in their ascension as well. And they'll benefit the most from the solar flash. So people who are currently in higher 4D and 5D will suddenly become beings of light. They'll become extremely angelic, powerful beings of light. They'll have activated their 12-strand DNA. They'll have activated their higher psychic abilities, like literally teleporting and walking on water, manifesting at will. And our powers will be beyond what we can even imagine right now, because it is said that humanity is the cutting edge technology of this universe, because we contain the DNA of 22 different alien races. And all of these races have seeded us. So we're basically taking the best of all these 22 races, and we're combined and forming that race. So just because we carry this advanced genetics doesn't mean that we're all going to be running at the same pace. The star seeds and light workers that have come to Earth at this time to assist with this ascension, they're basically the ones carrying the advanced genetics for humanity. And there's about 220 million star seeds and light workers incarnated on this planet. And by star seeds and light workers, I mean people who are new to Earth, soul-wise. So Earth sent out a call that she needed help, because the density of this planet had fallen to such a great depth that Earth was not going to be able to ascend. So Earth sent out a call to the universe for higher dimensional beings to start incarnating on this planet. So beings from all the way from the ninth dimensional star systems all the way down to 6 and 5D. All these beings heard the call and they started incarnating on this planet since the 1920s, 30s. But most of these incarnations started happening after the 1987 Harmonic Convergence, which we'll also cover. So the star seeds are the ones carrying this advanced genetics for humanity, because we're like the front runners. And most of you guys are these star seeds and light workers. If you're interested in these topics of ascension and your curiosity level is very high on spiritual topics, that means you have starseed DNA. So know who you are, first of all. You're not an ordinary citizen. You may think you're ordinary, you may look like the humans, but your heart is expanded. When somebody's suffering, you want to help them. You don't just like talk on your cell phone and ignore what's going on around you. So you guys are the front runners, and your role is going to be very important in this ascension, especially after the solar flash, because it's going to, the solar flash will basically enable our solar Rishi template, our Adam Kadmon template, and it will bring out our angelic human self. So in a very short span of time after the solar flash, we will become beings of light. We will be emanating light so visibly that it'll be very visible to the surface population, people who are not able to ascend, those in 3D and lower 4D or mid 4D. Those people may not be able to ascend right away, but they have a chance to come with us to New Earth. So don't be afraid that somebody will be left behind. If your family and if your friends are good people, then they'll be coming forward. The only criteria for this ascension to come forward into New Earth is you have to be 51% of service to others, 51% giving rather than taking. So if you're basically a good person at heart, you're going to make it. So all of your family members, don't be afraid. Even your pets are coming. All of your family members are going to have the option to ascend. However, it's a free will equation. So if one of your family members is literally like going through the solar flash and saying, holy shit, this is too much for me, then there'll be an option for them to carry their evolution on another planet. But also, I sense that many people in our soul family right now are so attached to their family members that they cannot fathom being separated from them. Like for example, somebody asked earlier that my daughter was asking that my narcissist ex, who was her father, who's no longer in her life, she still the daughter still has an emotional attachment with the narcissist father, but she was listening to our videos and asked her mother, will my father be able to make it to New Earth? So we want to answer that, and we want to say that people who are in a negative vibration doesn't mean they're bad person. Like if you're a narcissist, it doesn't mean you're a bad person. It just means you're hurting inside, and that hurt, you don't know what to do with it, and you project it to others. That makes you a narcissist. It doesn't mean you're a murderer and you're just a psychopath and you'll just hurt others because that's what gives you pleasure. If that's the case, if you're completely like in that negative state, then you probably won't make it to the ascension. But if you have a good heart that you still want to learn but you've made mistakes, then the divine dispensation will carry you past the threshold. But at the same time, the new earth is not going to be a joke for such people. It'll literally mean that instead of running at the treadmill and speed 2, they're going to have to run at speed 11 all of a sudden. So many people will say, no, this is too much for me, I'd rather go at my own pace. And they'll also have a chance to continue their evolutionary cycle for 100 years on another planet and then come to Earth. So there's options for every size.
I love that.
Yeah.
That felt amazing. So why don't we go into what is the solar flash exactly? Maybe we can start explaining that and then tie it to Alcyone.
Okay.
Right?
You want to go into that first?
Yeah, I think
Sure.
so. So let's
Yeah.
start by literally addressing the question. We'll address it with whatever angle comes through today, because we have talked about it in the past. Every time a new angle comes in. So what is the solar flash exactly, and how will it affect us? How will it affect the planet? What else will it affect? Like, will it affect the galaxy? Will it affect our solar system? And why does it even happen? So let's start about that.
Yeah. So I actually drew a diagram to explain the solar flash. So there you go. Can you guys see this? So I just want you to see this diagram, which starts with the sun on one end, and this ray of light is it starts with a more wider frequency. So my guides actually downloaded this picture into me just before this video, and they wanted me to explain this. This bigger wave of light depicts the period from 1987, which is the Harmonic Convergence, all the way to 2012, which means that since the Harmonic Convergence, since the 1987 was the year where a pulse was sent to Earth, and it was decided that Earth is finally able to ascend and humanity has met the threshold for ascension. So since then, the sun started preparing for the solar flash. So it's not a single event, it happens in waves. So you can see these bigger waves have been coming towards Earth since 1987 all the way to 2012. And this is 1987 to 2012 was the period of Earth's preparation. So within this phase, the sun has been sending these bigger waves of the solar flash to prepare our planet to upgrade her body to be able to ascend. So what that means is from 1987 to 2012, Earth's chakras have been activating. Earth's Kundalini has been shifting to a new location, which is now in Peru. It used to be in Tibet. Earth's nodes and noles are activating. These are like energy centers and vortices within Earth that create an electromagnetic grid around Earth that gives us the blueprint of the fifth dimensional consciousness. So all of these, think of Earth preparing her body was up to 2012. Now, since 2012 to 2022, these waves have become more and more frequent in their oscillation. What this means is really since 2012, but more likely since 2015, most of us have started feeling these energy waves from the sun have really started hitting our human bodies. So 2012 until 2022 is the period for humanity's preparation. So this was Earth's preparation, now it's humanity's preparation. And what this means is since 2012, the solar flares that are coming and the sun's energy that has been coming towards us, the gamma waves that have been sent to this planet, are specifically targeted to upgrade the human body from carbon to crystalline. And many of us are feeling it. That's why we feel these ascension symptoms. It's not just that we feel bad and then nothing happens. We're actually going through a very, very powerful, this is the most powerful shift that are in the entire history of our planet. This is the most powerful shift that we're ever going to experience. And never before in the history of the entire universe has an entire planet ascended. In the past, like different pockets of populations have ascended, but this is the first time that an entire planet is ascending, which is a big deal. That's why all the focus of all the galactic forces is on Earth right now. They're all helping in various ways. The Arcturians are here, Andromedans are here, Syrians are here, Pleiadians are here, and many races that we cannot even name yet.
And that's why when you go about your day to day lives, literally, even if you're surrounded by 3D, how do you get to 5D? We've gone through this process. You constantly have this awareness, constantly, of how big this is and how big your role in this is. What is your role in this, dear light worker? What is your role in it? Your role is that you said yes. Siman talked about the story where the call was sent. You said yes. You said, Earth is in trouble. I'm going to hear the call. I'm going to descend, go to Earth, and learn some more soul lessons. But while I'm at it, I will put a veil of amnesia on me. And I know I will forget about my galactic family. I know that I will be distant from my real family, my galactic family. I will mix and mingle with earthlings. I will mix and mingle with humans. I will breed with them. I will fall in love with them. And I will enter into negative karmic cycles with them. I will be abused by them. I will abuse them. I will get into a lot of karma with them because my service to humanity is that over many, 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 many lifetimes, I will, through my light, remember my way home. And that is what every single one of us is doing. And why is that in service? Because every time one of us remembers our way home, meaning every time one of us starseeds says, oh, envy is not a good thing, insecurity is not a good thing, let me give myself more self-love. Why should I be envious? Why should I, like all these things, when you change and you shift inside, when you go from victim mindset to powerful, infinite creator mindset, it downloads these codes into the grids of Earth. It downloads these codes to the Christ consciousness grid. And then more of humanity have access to this. We're just making the whole job easier for humanity.
Exactly.
This is huge, you guys. And we're all part of it. So when you go about your lives, don't get caught in 3D. Remember what the voice of God activation, when Siman channeled it, said. It said, don't get lost in the stories. Many of you have a million stories going on. 5 of them are your teenage son, 20 of them are your mother, another 30 of them are your old gossip monger friends. So there's so many stories in your head that all these 3D stories are weighing on you, weighing on you, weighing on you. Siman and I, in our lives, and many of you are already living like this, we don't really have any tethers, we don't have any stories, we hardly speak to people. We don't really are not in touch with our families because none of them are our well-wishers. You know what I mean? So we're in a phase where we're more untethered, and that's why we're more embodying of 5D consciousness. So even when you are stuck in your 3D, like the TV is blaring, everybody's like, even when you're stuck in that, have this awareness that you're a light worker, you're a powerful being, and you are a creator God that is here to do big work. And then let your mannerism reflect that. Your words you don't have to shout to the other person that I am a divine person. They'll put you in a mental hospital. But instead just embody it, because act it out. Like pretend you're in a constant acting. Pretend you're the heroine or the hero, the star actor of your own movie. Seriously, do it from now on. Everywhere you go, have this poise that how would my higher self behave?
Yeah, exactly. That's
like
such
how would
a
my
good
higher
example.
self behave? Let's have higher self parties from now on.
Like behave like the character you aspire to be.
Yes.
Like have class, have
Yes.
gentleness, have finesse, have
Yes.
love, be
have
chivalrous.
ferocity
Yeah.
when you need it. Be sultry,
authentic,
be
yourself.
sexy, be
Don't
sensual.
care what other people say about you.
Yes, be authentic, be
That's
unique.
what 5D is.
Yes.
My guides were actually giving me a list of all the
Really?
checklist of things that we have to do to be in 5D, and
Yeah.
just like touch the tip
Tip
of
of
the
it.
iceberg.
Yeah,
We should
exactly.
create a list like that.
So we have some Q&A, and we also have, you
So
want to talk about
actually, yeah, there's
LCO?
a lot I need
Yeah,
to
cover
cover
it.
before the Q&A.
So we'll do the Q&A at the end.
Yeah. So
Q&A about the solar flash.
I wanted to cover the precession of the equinoxes because that has a lot to do with the solar flash. So the solar flash occurs when our solar system is entering into a new age. So I'm going to explain what that age is. So here we have a diagram where we are showing this spiral of Alcyone. Alcyone is like our kind of central sun in the local zone of this galaxy. So if this is Alcyone, these are all the stars in its spiral, and our sun is the last in that spiral. And all of these stars, like Atlas, Taygeta, Coel, Electra, Maya, Merope, all of these are going in the orbit of Alcyone. Now, in the middle of this orbit is the area enclosed with these two dotted lines, and this is known as the photon band. Sorry, I had a brain fog. This is known as the photon band. So this photon band contains the width of 2,000 years of orbit. So, for example, if our sun's moving in this orbit for 2,000 years, it passes through the photon band here and in the back here. Okay, so this entire orbit of our sun around Alcyone, oh, sorry, what did I touch? Our whole orbit of the sun around Alcyone takes about 26,225 years, approximately. Now, before this 2,000-year phase, from here to here, we were in age of Pisces. That was like shortly before the birth of Christ until 2012 was the age of Pisces. So that was about 2,225 years, something thereabouts. From Pisces, we're going into Aquarius. So currently our sun is literally on the edge of Aquarius. I think I messed up the directions a bit, but basically the sun was in Pisces and now it's just on the edge of the photon belt. So when our solar system is outside the photon belt, it's called the galactic night. It's called the dark night of the soul. In this area and this area of the diagram, when we're outside the photon belt, that's when we go through ages of darkness, where there's a lot of oppression on the planet, where the dark overpowers the light, and there's war and there's disease and there's famine and there's poverty and all those things. And we had to learn through the dark night of the soul. Now, all these star systems on top, they've all gone through extended periods of dark nights of the soul. So what's happening now, I wanted to show you another thing before I move forward. So that was Alcyone. That was our solar system in relationship to Alcyone. But this is the map of our, oh, sorry, my hand's constantly messing things up. This is the map of our Milky Way galaxy, and this shows that Alcyone was literally like a dot in the outer edge of our galaxy. So think of this whole thing as our galaxy, and think there's literally millions and trillions of star systems like our sun and Alcyone in this galaxy. Literally, each of these spirals are like stars. So our galaxy is huge, and the great central sun, Alcyone's not our great central sun. Our great central sun of this galaxy is the one that's going to be sending out the solar flash, and it's going to propagate out into the entire galaxy. And Alcyone is just a dot around the great central sun. So this great central sun is extremely huge. And in the universe, there's multiple galaxies. There's millions and trillions of galaxies that form one universe. And then there's multiple universes. So imagine how big creation is. So basically, Alcyone's whole revolution around the great central sun takes about 225 million years. So right now, we're not only finishing our 25,000 year cycle, which is we're not only finishing this one cycle of 25,000 years, but Alcyone is also finishing its 225 million year cycle around the great central sun. That's why this is such an auspicious time, because both our star Alcyone and great central sun have completed one revolution, and this means this is an extremely auspicious time. This happens once every 225 million years, and because of that, there's a divine dispensation that's closed the old chapter of duality, and Prime Creator has decided that all of the galaxies of this universe will no longer learn from dark versus light.
So maybe we can talk about the harmonic convergence here.
Yeah, exactly.
So you want me to do it or you want to do it?
You do it.
No, okay. So then later on we have we're like extremely on schedule. Like we're
Good.
covering everything, even though we're going in all over the place.
Yeah,
This is perfect.
yeah,
So a super quick touch on the harmonic convergence of 1987
yeah,
was Prime Creator at that point. So the harmonic convergence really, and many of you already know this, is a pulse was sent down to planet Earth. A pulse was sent down by Prime Creator to say, okay, this experiment that I started by having all these unique creator god versions of me, where all these souls went down and went into lower souls and more souls and more souls. What has happened right now? And let's see, is there any hope? And a pulse was sent down, and we actually were at 81% or something like that. We were at 80% positive polarity,
quotient of light,
and we only needed to be at 51% to make the cut. And so in 1987, this is a very important phenomenon. It's called the harmonic convergence. And what happened was that pulse was sent, it was at 81%, and that's when Prime Creator decreed that humanity does not need to learn from negativity and war and suffering and hate anymore. We are wrapping up the negative.
We're wrapping up duality, basically.
Exactly.
So the realms are going to be separated from now on, that all the negative realms are going to go out of 3D and all the positive realms are only going to be allowed from 3D and higher. So there are lower states, there are negative states, negative dimensions. And what had happened in the fall of Atlantis about 25,000 years ago, we were already in a golden age. Earth had technology, Earth was living the life. We had like unlimited food. Everyone was into like fashion and events and enjoying life. And we had like all the luxuries and all the technologies, and we were like the pride of the universe as a planet. And we envied ourselves at what we had achieved. So what happened in the fall of Atlantis is that our pride took over us, and we were also infiltrated by a dark reptilian consciousness that brought down all the consciousness of our entire planet to a very low state. And because they managed to infiltrate our systems, our governments, our leadership, our organizations at every level in a very sly, manipulated way, and it took thousands of years to infiltrate our systems, they were able to lower the consciousness of humanity from a 5D ascended state to a 3D two-strand DNA limited human that we are today. But now, since the fall of Atlantis, the priests and priestesses of Atlantis, they used to harness the power of the sun into giant megalithic crystals in the temples of Atlantis and Lemuria. Each of these temples that were hosted in Atlantis and Lemuria used to host a very huge structural crystal. Some of these crystals were manufactured by Arcturians in advanced laboratories. So these crystals were extremely, extremely specialized to be able to harness the power of the sun. And they used to store the power of the sun in these crystals. And then from those temples, these priests and priestesses also had to be of a very high vibration in order to be able to do this work. So some of these priests and priestesses of Atlantis, they were all known as the Brotherhood and Sisterhood of the Law of One. They used to hold ceremonies in various grid points of Earth to dispel this positive energy of ascension from our sun, from the great central sun, into all the grids and ley lines of Earth. Now, since the fall of Atlantis, those temples have been buried. Like many of them are buried underground now. But what the galactics have been doing is that they've been recreating the artificial crystalline grid around Earth. And for that reason, many volunteers had to come to Earth. For example, Jesus, Buddha, all the ascended masters who visited this planet came for one reason alone, and that is to reestablish the consciousness grid of 5D to allow humanity a map or blueprint of this ascension. So when Jesus came to Earth, he really what he did was he anchored all the dimensions because Jesus was embodying a very high state of consciousness. And now, currently on Earth, there are many humans, like not many, I would say a handful of humans, like within hundreds, that have now reached Jesus's level of consciousness. So, what Jesus did was he embodied all the dimensions from 9D all the way down to 3D. He embodied God consciousness in human form. By being on Earth, he planted that seed of consciousness to give humanity. He came in the darkest of ages where everything was against him. And he came fearlessly, knowing that he was going to be hung on the cross and crucified as an example for humanity. But he came anyway out of his unconditional love. And the crucifixion actually planted a seed in the consciousness of humanity that this is possible. The dark wanted to crucify him to teach us a lesson that if you show your light, this is what happens to you. But what actually happened was that humanity got a very deep message that it is possible for us to ascend while being in human form. And that we didn't know consciously, but it went in our subconscious mind. Then since the death of Jesus until 1987, 1987 was the cutoff point. From Jesus's time until 1987, we were allowed all this time to go through all our dark lessons and really decide whether we're going to make the jump or not. To assist in making the jump in the last few decades before 1987, a lot of light workers and starseeds came and they started raising the consciousness of this planet like crazy. Without the starseeds and light workers, the 200 million that are here, this planet would not have ascended. So pat yourself on the back because you made it happen. We all made it happen. But now we have a fighting chance because all of the Christed codes have now embedded into our planet. And now our planet has the 5D consciousness grid again that it used to have in Atlantis. So vibrationally, our planet is already vibrating at the golden age of Atlantis. It's just physically, we have not caught up to the golden age of Atlantis.
I just love it.
You seem very zoned out.
I feel so relaxed and so chill. It's like I'm in my face. I used to hate history, horrible history. I in school, and this is like miso soup. It's like I'm just soaking it all up.
Good.
How are you guys feeling? You want to do some Q&A?
Let me see if I wanted to cover
We have lots of amazing
else.
questions, but yeah, go in any order. Well, maybe we can cover. Yeah, what do you want to do?
Yeah, I wanted to say a little bit more about what the solar flash is and what it's actually going to be like. So now
let's make that Sistara's question because we have to take some audience questions.
Sure.
Sistara's question: when the biggest wave comes, what will it be like? And that's kind of what he was talking about. And what is our mission as light workers and starseeds?
Exactly. Okay. So when the big wave comes, first of all, I want to say that the reason that our guides are talking about this topic more and more is because it's becoming imminent. I don't think it's going to happen in the next few weeks. Some people actually say that. But we've been told, initially, we were told to play it very safe and say it's going to happen sometime before 2032. Now we're being shown that it's more imminent than that. So we're being shown that the max deadline is still 2032, but it seems like the events of Earth are at a point where events are becoming more and more faster. So from 2012 to 2022, the sun has been sending us these pulses that are upgrading our physical vessels. But since the beginning of 2022, this year, the pulses have become so frequent that the sun is now sending us signals that the solar flash is imminent, which means it's the next step. like when we talk galactic language, you have to take into consideration that for the sun, 1 or 2 years doesn't matter. 10 years is like this. So when they say it's imminent, don't take it as like it's going to happen right away.
And what triggers it is actually that the sun is a
Sentient being.
sentient being who's aware of every galaxy has its own sun. The sun is a sentient being aware of everyone in our galaxy, the great central sun. So what happens is when the galaxy is ready for a trigger, literally the sun creates that trigger, and it's all set up in time like math. It's set up to explode and send a wave, a rainbow wave. Many people have been shown, many psychics have been shown, Siman and I have been shown. It's the same vision, every single one has been shown. Even QHHT sessions have been shown the same thing, that when this happens, it'll be one pulse. It'll be the great solar flash. It hasn't happened for the longest time. It will create a pulse that will be felt in our entire galaxy, not just Earth.
Entire galaxy.
In our entire
not
galaxy.
Just our solar system.
And our whole galaxy will be upshifted an octave, several octaves, whatever it is. But what that'll mean is also that in our galaxy, we have wrapped up the negative timelines.
Yeah, exactly.
The whole galaxy.
We're being shown that it's going to come like a very visible cloud. It's going to come like a rainbow cloud, and it's going to engulf everything. And what's happening is that the whole of existence right now is being upshifted at a submolecular state, which means everything in existence is going to be vibrating at a different particle level. And there's not going to be any way for negative consciousness to infiltrate this reality. So when this upshift happens, as we explained, people in different levels of consciousness will experience it differently. The light workers who've been prepping, the light workers who've done their homework, are suddenly going to become these like powerful angelic like beings with healing abilities. Your hands will be glowing. You'll have more awareness. You'll have suddenly more inner guidance. You'll know what to do by instinct, because suddenly your starseed light body will come online, and you have a lot of knowledge that's dormant within you that you don't even know about. Actually, EldoRa and I experience this all the time because we're going through our ascension at a rapid pace, and we suddenly realize that we have so many gifts and abilities that are just hidden within us that we just have to remember, and it's becoming
immediate.
Active. So when this great solar flash occurs, it's going to send a jolt to the 3D population, and many people will be convulsing violently if they're in a negative state, if they're in a disease state, if they're like treating their bodies badly.
Alcoholics.
Yeah,
drug
if they're
addicts.
in a negative state, if they're in a if they have not been balancing their bodies, or their bodies are weak, then they will have a very like shocking experience with this event. However, those people who are more in tune and in touch with their bodies are going to pass through it a lot more easily, and they'll be able to assist others. So to answer Sistara's question, it will be like a huge wave that will be visible to everyone, and also we'll know what to do. Our roles will literally become to hold and keep the balance on this planet. Now, we don't have to like self-sacrifice ourselves and become superheroes and like go and try and save the whole planet, because we'll want to, all the light workers and starseeds suddenly will look around at each other and say, hey, let's form our communities. Like, let's get together. We know what we came here to do, and let's go to the next step. And we're already doing that with New Earth Festival, and like we're forming our communities already. So more and more of these communities will be literally visible.
And I also want to touch on, which is such a good point you just raised, that you don't have to self-sacrifice and go out and say, where can I help someone? Where can I help someone?
You can if you choose to, but
if you choose to. So what will really happen is, like that example that I started this whole video with, you will be placed. Something will get canceled. You'll miss a train. You'll miss a bus. Somehow, this happens to us all the time. You'll be placed at the right place at the right time, and you'll just know exactly what to do to help someone absorb the solar flash energies or deal with it. Because once the flash happens, it's not like in one day everything will be normal. Somebody even asked, will the internet blow? Everything will be reset.
Yeah,
Everything.
There'll be a complete, it'll be like an EMP. You know what an EMP is? If you watch Ocean's 12, they use an EMP to disable all the lights in the block in Las Vegas. So imagine that times a million. The solar flash is like the biggest megaton EMP we've ever experienced. And actually, in 1880, 1857 or 1887, something occurred called the Carrington event. Look it up on Google. This was a very powerful solar flare that knocked out all of our electronic devices. It created havoc in communications and around Earth. So the solar flash is very real. It's already happened. It's been recorded in our history. And it's not like we're talking from conjecture. We're talking from past instances where it's been scientifically recorded in not too distant past.
And it also happens, it's very important to understand the psychology of it, as crazy as this sounds, that one day, oh my God, something's going to happen. So, first thing is not to be in a position of waiting for it, saying when, because that's giving away your power. That's victim consciousness. But instead saying, until then, what do I have to do? I have to eat clean. I have to look at my addictions. If I'm addicted to alcohol, I have to admit it. I'm an alcoholic and go get help for it, because the more negatively polarized you are, the more addictions you have, the more demons are floating around you, the harder it is going for you to make the shift. So it's very easy. You think of the next 2 or 3 years, like till 25, even if we're saying 25, 26, because initially they were saying 2032. And now it's seeming like pull the timelines
it seems
back.
more closer to 20.
So we don't know when that could be. It could be 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years.
Yeah.
We don't know. But the guides are saying prepare for it, because that's why these messages are becoming very frequent. Prepare for it as if you're preparing for the Olympics. And what that means is eating light. We're on an almost 100%, I would say 95% vegan diet, and it's going really well. Our stomachs are happy. Some days we just go on water fast. I do want to get into this one question. Nobody asked it, but I'm feeling like we should talk about it. Will there be evacuation? So there's a lot of talk about pole shifts. There's a lot of talk about evacuation.
Somebody did ask about pole shifts.
Amazing.
It's a good thing you brought it up.
So let's talk about, maybe I'll give them an idea of the evacuation and you give them an idea of the pole shift and whatnot. So basically, one scenario that has been shown to psychics, clairvoyants all over the world, including us. We were shown this very clearly about 5 or 7 years ago. And it was insane when we were shown this, of us, many of us, our animals, many of us being evacuated. We literally were shown that it's called the evacuation plan. So an evacuation plan very much exists for planet Earth. Okay, it's there, it's already written, there is a manual, there is an evacuation plan in place. I don't want to get into the details or the specifics of it, but there is an evacuation plan that if for whatever reason there is any threat to planet Earth, all of us, or just the light workers, all of us
who choose to go,
can be off planet in less than 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And the light workers and the starseeds are going to be beamed off first. We don't need to be worried about that timeline anymore, but this was shown to us about 7 years ago, preparing for COVID. But then now what they're showing us is that, so the evacuation plan is that if there's something crazy happens, there's
like earthquakes or tsunamis, if there's some drastic changes that are suddenly happening on Earth that require humanity to be lifted off while Earth goes through a stabilization process, then there was a galactic confederation plan where motherships can be lowered into our orbit and literally have humans beamed up. To the best of our knowledge, what we advise everyone is that the negative state has been eliminated or is cornered at this point. So this is a very unlikely scenario that an evacuation of planet will occur, but we want to cover that anyway.
They're all thinking we want to go in the EldoRa and Siman spaceship. Are you guys not thinking that?
We'll eventually all be beamed up. It's just a matter of time when, because we're meeting our galactic families, right? It's a very exciting time.
And off topic, the other day, Siman and I were somewhere, and he said to me, he says, "Oh, where's my spaceship?" And I said, "Where's mine?" Because mine's going to be the comfort ship. And he's like the comfort ship. If my spaceship will have he's used to the military style bathrooms, and I'm used to
my ship is like balling.
Is it?
My ship's
it's
got
banging?
All the luxuries.
Come on.
Yeah.
I'm the comfort ship, though.
Okay, yours is a spa.
Yeah, mine's a spa.
If you want a galactic spa, it's her mothership. So
we need to build one with both of our, the spa and the technology.
We'll build a 5D wonderland in our ship.
Yes.
So to the best of our knowledge, I want to say that if you start seeing ships evacuating people, don't be in fear. and allow yourself to be lifted off, because many people will go into fear thinking, oh, and the news may also be sending you conflicting information that it's a negative alien attack and don't go with them. But to the best of our knowledge, if ships are lifting people, they will literally be sending particle beams to lift us off physically. And we're being told that this is becoming less and less likely. Again, I'm
So,
saying.
guys, it's very important because suddenly we threw out a spaceship. So, let's just go back
Yeah.
and take a deep breath. There is an evacuation plan that the galactics have for planet Earth, but it's becoming very unlikely that we're going to have to use it.
Yeah.
That's what the latest information coming in is, that we don't need to be off because there's no imminent danger. But there's one thing that Siman and I often are shown is, we're often shown this in our vision, is extreme pole shifts. But everything is literally shifting. Everything is literally morphing. So
Yeah. So basically, what I wanted to say is, if shifts are lifting us off, it's the good guys. Go with them. Don't resist.
and your frequency will tell you again.
Yeah.
Don't feel like somebody just told you to get in a ship. I really want to be careful
Yeah.
with this part. If ever, listen, we're talking about the 0.1%. Like, we don't know why we're talking about this, but just know that there is a plan about evacuation, and if we go into that, you will just know, and there is no need to fear it. I think just have it in the back of your
And-
mind. That's all we're trying to say. We're not trying to instill this as a very high timeline.
Yeah.
For some
and
reason,
also,
it's coming
that
through.
evacuation plan was formed on the very basis of the pole shift. And the pole shift is also something that's actually occurring in the last few decades. The North Pole has shifted very visibly from somewhere in Iceland or Canada all the way down to Siberia. So there's already been a 40-degree shift of the North Node. So Earth's magnetosphere is changing. It was estimated that if a full-fledged pole reversal occurs, which is also something that is expected to occur coinciding with the solar flash, if such a pole reversal occurs in a very sudden manner, then it can create a geomantic storm on planet Earth. It can cause volcanic eruptions, continental plates might shift, like whole swaths of land might open up into nothing. There might be tsunamis and all kinds of stuff. But there's nothing to fear in that scenario because we had that evacuation plan that we covered. So the galactics are fully aware. But also, they wanted to share that over the last couple of years, they've been able to harmonize and stabilize the Earth's grids a lot better than they had expected before, because humanity's consciousness has been raising at a favorable pace to this ascension. So now the more likely scenario that is playing out is that this will be a very peaceful transition where there will not be the need for a widespread evacuation, and humanity will be given, it may take longer, I'm not saying decades. The ascension of this planet has a time frame until 2032 or so. It may take, instead of like 2 years, like 4 or 5 years longer, but we'll have more of a smooth transition is what I'm saying.
I love that. We'll take a few of your questions as well before we wrap up, but I just have a really amazing announcement to make, you guys. So we've been planning this for a few weeks now, and finally our website is live. We are hosting one of our favorite days of the year. I would say Lionsgate every year, August 8th, is like the most powerful day of the year for us because we both have a very strong connection to Sirius. I know you guys are getting so excited. So Lionsgate, and of course Solstice, and of course December Solstice, and of course all of them. But Lionsgate is a big one. And this year, we're actually going to be hosting a free event for every single starseed lightworker. We want many, many people to come because we're being guided that there is such important work to do because of the precipice of explosive change that our planet is at. Every single one of you is also being asked to come into this, to hold space. We're all going to be connecting our hearts. I've shown that we're all going to connect our hearts and create a powerful grid around planet Earth. We are going to be activating the fuck out of you guys. We do that really, really well. And we can't even take credit because all we do is we really set up a very powerful, very sacred space. And then the higher dimensional beings swarm in. They rush in with so much love, which is why in our events, people have breakthroughs. They have all kinds of amazing, amazing experiences. And we kept it free for a specific reason. We really, really do not want these upgrades of Lionsgate to be held back because you don't have the money for it, or you haven't seen, why you should go, whatever, you're not familiar with Zoom. We want all the stories to go, because really, guys, right now these are like the times. These are the
It's
exciting
time to ramp
times.
up, and we're being shown it's time to prepare the population. So we
Yes,
want
we are
as
the
many people
ascending
to
tribe.
attend as
Yes.
possible.
So go to www.eldora-and-siman.love, which is our website, and you will see it on the homepage. You can just go
It's in the
register
description
here.
of this video as well.
You just go click register here, you put your email address, and you will be emailed the information to the event on August 8th. We're starting it at 11:11 EST. So 11:11 a.m. EST, and it'll be about 2.5 hours long. We'll do Q&A.
1:44
We'll do
EST.
live Ascension Q&A. We're both going to channel a message which we'll receive the day off, or the day prior, about Lionsgate. We're going to share a channel message. The most important intention for Lionsgate for us is actually we're being asked to energetically attune the masses. That's what I'm getting right now. Energetically attune you guys. And what that really means, if you want to explain it, that's the primary intention of Lionsgate, because we're going to be doing an energy healing, which is so important right now. That's actually more important than all of these videos. The healing is what we're being asked to do.
Yeah. So if you guys have been following our work since the beginning of this year, our guides have become how do I say, ascension, instead of ascension coaches, they've become Olympic coaches.
Yes.
So they're taking our ascension progress
To the
into
next-
a whole new gear.
Boom. And they're holding us so
they're
accountable.
holding us accountable like no tomorrow. They've literally asked us to eliminate all kinds of toxin kind of food. Like, we're not eating meat or fish.
Even fish we've given up for the time
We're
being.
eating a very clean vegetarian vegan diet. We've eliminated dairy. Now the new buzz is we're even eliminating wheat. So we can't even eat, we're not supposed to eat wheat because of the yeast. So one by one, they're literally cutting us down to go
and
into.
we're loving it.
It's like ascension training.
We love it.
We actually love it because our vibration's been shooting through the
Yes.
roof. We just did it a 4-day juice fast, and that was a big deal. It was for the first time in our life, did not have solids for 4 days.
And guys, for those of you attending the Lionsgate 8/8 portal event with us, you guys know, those of you who've already been, we've had many events and tens of thousands of people have attended in total with us. And one thing that stays similar is our events are extremely activating, extremely sacred, powerful space, and you will feel shifts tangibly. So make sure you are intentional about how you prepare for it. Don't just show up casually, because if you show up casually without reverence for the space, your blessings will show up casually. You know what I mean? Have reverence, saying, I'm going into a portal. And we'll talk on the day of why is this portal so powerful. We're going to go into all of that. We'll even do ascension coaching. And the most important thing is the harmonization of your light body. That is what the guides want us to focus on, because your light bodies right now are damaged. And that's why we did the 222 light body healing, repair, and activation, which is still available for sale on our website, EldoRa-and-Siman.love. It's the 222 event. That was one of the most powerful events we've ever hosted, where we took your light body and repaired the crystals in it and upgraded it. So during our events, many of us turn on our Merkabas and we go astral traveling. And many of you have not turned it on yet. So we overcompensate for you. The angels overcompensate for you so we can go on this astral guided journey. But guys, I'll be very honest with you. The 222 event Merkaba work, it's a must. It's not
It forms the
negotiable.
baseline for all the things we're going to do.
It's a must. It's mandatory. And I say this with all my love. You guys know me. You guys know that I'm like authentic. By my own standards, I'm the most authentic person I know. Seriously. So when I'm telling you this, it's because I really want you to fly. And the cord cutting is another huge one. If any of you says, oh my God, I would love to do it, but I need a 50% discount, write to us. And this is just coming through right now. info@houseofra.com, and say, guys, I want to do the cord cutting. I want to do the 222 Merkaba. I want to do the Merlin Excalibur light sword activation. Can I just get a 50% off? We will email you a code, because right now we're on the verge of flying, but we're not allowed to give you these things for free, because that goes against our principles. We give so much for free that we're saying, if you guys are serious about your ascension, enter the mystery school with reverence and respect yourself. Respect yourself that I am worth it. That is why we charge. We charge very nominally, but we charge so that you can prove to yourself that you are worth it before you even enter our mystery school. And we can be assured that we're only teaching the serious ones. And we're not just teaching people who are going to come and munch popcorn and have, no freaking respect for the teachings. So that's why we charge for certain, but we give a lot for free. And guys, we are in for the ride of a lifetime.
And we're also being guided to start a monthly membership where we provide monthly ascension support to starseeds and light workers. So that's coming in the future. But the main thing that we wanted to share is that right now we're doing all of these events and providing more ascension support because literally it feels like humanity is on the verge of this next step.
Yes.
And I also wanted to cover that before this solar flash happens, some people say if we're suddenly going to be upgraded into a 12-strand DNA, then why do we need to eat clean? Why do we need to do all this hard work? Why do we need to figure out all our ego lessons? Why do we need to go the distance and work so hard for this ascension?
Before you answer that, it's because many of you don't even know, we didn't even cover this, that after the solar flash, we are going to be back to how we looked when we were 30 years old. Like our DNA is going to reverse age.
Exactly.
Like
so
all of us.
So some of you might ask that if we're going to reverse age and have the best health of our life after the solar flash, then why should we put in all the work right now? So the reason for that, and this is a very good question, the reason for that is that the solar flash is going to target our soul's orientation, which means if you're being a lazy soul, I'm not pointing at anyone, but I'm just giving an example. If someone is being a lazy soul and they don't want to do the work, the solar flash is not going to do the work for them. So if someone's putting off their ego lessons, if someone's not eating a clean diet, if they still have addictions and they think they'll go through the solar flash and it'll poof be disappeared, that's not going to happen, because the solar flash is just a doorway to a 300-year period of ascension. We're actually going into the age of Aquarius, not now, but 300 years from now. We're in the Aquarius rising phase for 300 years. So what that really means is that all these souls that have not done the work, they literally have 300 years on New Earth in order to meet the requirements for ascension. Even like starseeds and light workers like us who are like very serious about the ascension and we're training like athletes, even us, we have a long way to go. It's not like we're near the finish line. So the galactics, they're like millions of years ascended. They're like way ahead of us. So humanity has a lot more to catch up than we think we do. So don't go with the assumption that the solar flash will fix any problems for you. You have to do the work. And if you're not doing the work, if you're expecting someone to do it for you, you will find it very difficult to pass through the solar flash. And for those people who are actually putting in the work and who've been cleansing their bodies, they're the ones who are going to reap the rewards the most. Because if you've been putting in the work, then the divine dispensation works double time on you.
And spirit can just flow through you.
Yeah, spirit will flow through you. Those are the people that will be glowing after the solar flash. Their gifts will be online, because when you take one step towards the universe, towards God, God takes 10 steps towards you. So always keep that in mind, that the solar flash is not a shortcut.
And also think about it. When you go to do a sacred ayahuasca ceremony or a mushroom ceremony, do you stuff your face and eat like meat? And you don't. You cleanse for it. You cleanse for 3 days. Sometimes when we used to do these ceremonies, we used to actually cleanse, have people cleanse for 2 weeks even before coming to our mushroom ceremonies. So that's how. So cleanse, prepare for it. And right now the guidance about this is getting very strong. You know what the guide said to me recently when I was in Switzerland? I said, it's really hard doing a water fast here when I'm surrounded by all these amazing pasta and buffalo cheese, Italian pizza places. You know what they said? You're not even part of 3D. This 3D food is not meant for you guys. Why are you still eating? 3D is around you, but you're in a different dimension. So start going to restaurants of that dimension, literally. So this is like
and that also brings me to a good point that
we can even take questions.
Some people talk about the splitting of the worlds and whether there'll be literally 2 worlds.
We can talk about that.
So the way we see the splitting of the worlds happening is that we're staying on the same physical planet. It's just that there'll be pockets of 3D and pockets of 5D that will become more accentuated and separated after the solar flash. For example, Eldora and I, and many light workers like us who are actually on the path of ascension, who are very serious about it, we feel like we're actually glimpsing 5D consciousness in our daily lives. Like we see that we're surrounded by nature, we're surrounded by friendly people.
We're surrounded by miracles.
Yeah, the areas we go, people are nice. Like we have a literally different reality. So from our perspective, it's like we're in New Earth, but we also see that there's many pockets of populations that need to do a lot of work to be in New Earth. What the solar flash will do is it will make this separation very visible, and it will make light workers will suddenly become very powerful, and they'll see each other and they'll magnetize towards each other, and new communities of light will form, and we'll have more access to technology, we'll have more access to healthcare.
We'll all have healthier bodies, fitter bodies, because this solar flash is here to help us. It's really here as a gift from the great central sun, from source, from spirit, to help upshift us to our next phase. Literally, it's a gift. So this gift comes with a lot of rewards. It comes with better health. You know how sometimes on earth it's so dense all the time, to shake off the density is so hard. Everything's going to shift after that, which is why the next few years are so important for us to get as many soul lessons as we can, to master our ego, to master our emotional body, to master our physical body, master our spiritual body, because this is actually going to be the curriculum that we're going to start going into many of our future offerings, because this is the curriculum. And we can go deep. If you guys think you've started with the emotional body, you haven't even cracked it open. There are so many layers, and it's easy. Once you get in the layers, it's easy to get it all out. So we're going to get into a lot of that. We're also being trained on some trancey healing methods, which I really, really love, because I think I'm really good at it. It's something that just I have in my DNA. So healing is going to be offered at a very magnified rate in the upcoming months, because we need to prepare you guys. We need to, everything they're doing to us, we need to impart to you guys, to prepare you for this flash, to prepare you for the energies, really.
Yeah.
We could end, or we could take questions. If you guys have questions, ask away, unless you have anything else.
Yeah, I just wanted to add quickly.
I have a lot more, but I feel like it's 1.5 hours, but we can take questions. But yeah, go ahead.
Sure. I just wanted to add that before the solar flash occurs, we still have to go through a financial reset. We still have to go through the cleanup of all the corruption on this planet. We still have to go through advanced healing technologies being returned to humanity. We're going to experience free energy. So there's a lot of changes that still have to take place. Humanity is not fully there yet. But at the accelerated pace at which things are going right now, it seems like the next few years are it. But that also means that it's going to be, like we said in our last video, it's going to be a phase of, the next few years are going to be a phase of a rude awakening for humanity, where we as a collective go through the dark night of the soul. And when we awaken out of the dark night of the soul as humanity, as a population, then we'll be ready to receive the solar flash. So just wanted to put it out there that there's still a few major steps that have to happen before humanity is ready.
See if you want to take any of this. One question.
So many golden nuggets. What is the main ascension? What are the main ascension symptoms? Well,
someone else also said, I was told my children are here to upgrade humanity. AJ.
Yeah.
Can you help me understand that?
Yeah. So ascension symptoms are, you can feel tired, sluggish. You can feel like you're floating above your body. You can feel
two dimensions.
You're in 2 dimensions at once. You feel like you're even an ascension symptom could be going out of resonance with your 3D family or friends who are very opinionated, who are not open to spiritual topics. You feel ascension symptoms are also like you suddenly feel attracted to crystals. You want to read spiritual books. You want to absorb knowledge at a rapid
handle
pace.
Negativity. You hate negativity.
You also start seeing the bullshit in others. When people are trying to lie to you or manipulate you or cheat you, suddenly it hurts more, and your chakras are more aware of all these things, and your emotions are also more like a roller coaster because your chakras are awakening, your DNA is awakening. So all of these signs are signs of the ascension. And somebody said, what if I don't have any ascension symptoms? Like, am I being left behind? So if you don't have any ascension symptoms, it means that either your ascension journey has not begun yet, or that you've already gone through it and you've done your work. So whichever of the two. And what was the one about children?
Somebody just said that. I've heard like my children are here to help with humanity, and we've talked about this before. How so many children are
Yeah.
born right now.
So the children that are being born right now are very high frequency souls because through divine dispensation, the caliber of souls being sent to New Earth since 2012 are all the souls who are already chosen for New Earth. So the children already know that they're coming here to populate and live in New Earth. And these are very high frequency souls. Some of them are directly coming in from angelic realms. Some of them were coming from the consciousness of God. So there's many ascended masters that you may be a parent of. I would say, look, if you have children right now, look at them as ascended masters. Look at them as teachers because they'll be able to teach you through the wisdom of innocence and love. And you have to also take different kind of care of these children because they're so sensitive. Your words can really harm them to them. So be extremely loving in your words, always encourage them, always use positively charged words rather than negative reprimanding words. Love and encouragement goes miles with these kids, but if you are harsh with them, then they'll just shut off. And if they're trying to be different, then encourage that. If they're saying, but why don't we do it this way, why can't we do this, then really instead of your 3D brain saying no, it can't be done because this has always been the way, expand your mind and say, maybe my child is an ascended being here to teach me something, and maybe I should open my ears and listen. So
and don't confuse that with discipline. So
Yeah.
love is very important. Having a very soft, beautiful relation is important, but so is discipline.
Correct. They need structure as well. They need a container where they can feel safe and they can explore without harshness, but also when they try to test your limits, because some of these starseeds, they're not like goody two shoes either, right? Like even me, I did so many things that would shock my parents if they knew. But we like to also be renegades. Starseeds also like to push the limits.
His dad, when he was like 16 or something, his dad told him, you know how our dads, 3D dads, were so like fucking wusses? His dad told him, if ever somebody comes to hit you, run the other side, run away. So his father told him this. He brainwashed him.
Take a beating instead of fight back. And my renegade side said, okay, I'm going to the mall and picking a fight now. And I literally picked a fight with a 300-pound man who was like a bodybuilder biker, because I didn't want to pick on someone weaker than me. So
look, he even has a cut.
This cut is from that punch.
How old were you?
I was like 24.
I find that so hot.
I got like 4 stitches on my eyebrow from that fight.
Okay, that is really hot.
Like I was literally like, oh, that's what a fight is like. So starseeds, we like to push we want to experience everything. So if you're a parent to such a child, you want to tell them that this is how it goes. You don't want to try it. You just show them the consequences. You show them the timeline before it even happens, and they'll get it because they're very advanced souls.
We should have a talk one day about all the funny things we did as teenagers.
Oh
and that
my
would be
God.
we're going to do something really fun when we hit 50,000 subscribers. Something fun. We've always talked about it, and we're so close, guys. We're at 48,000.
Once my brother put a firecracker in a diplomat's house in Pakistan.
Don't say that.
Yeah, he did.
Well, he's actually.
Well, we were like a bunch of kids, and
Why did he do that?
We wanted to just have fun with firecrackers.
So
my brother, he wanted to impress Mike. He was 1 year younger. He wanted to impress my friend. So he literally went over the wall and he placed the firecracker and lit it in the front door and rang the doorbell. And the guy came out. The freaking door explodes, right?
No, God.
The door didn't explode, but it was like a big shock to him. Like there was no physical damage, but it was like loud bang, right? So that guy, he was some guy from Nigeria, and he was a diplomat.
Oh my God.
He started like running out towards us, and he saw us like a bunch of hooligans on the street, and he started running towards us. And I'm like this like happy-go-lucky starseed. I don't know how things work on this planet. I'm just standing with my hands in my pocket, and all my friends are like, jet out, right? So he comes and grabs me by the collar, and he's like, "You did it!" And I'm like, "I didn't do it." And then my dad had to talk with me. My dad grabbed me and my brother, and everybody thought I did it. My dad grabbed me and my brother. He brought back to his house, and we all apologized to him and his family.
Oh my
It was
God.
it was quite a wake up call.
And once it
So
was so funny, I was in like grade 11 and I was on one side and there was this guy Bharat who was on the other side, and I would constantly write shits about how dumb the professor was. And we would like exchange shits through the thing. And this professor's name was such a weird name, Pandu Ranga Sharma Shetty. So we was like, hey, Pandu is really boring today. And I would send him a chit. And then he would send me back a chit. And at one point, Pandu acted like he didn't see anything. He came up right up to me and said, let me read that.
oh my god.
And guess what Bharat did? I don't know if he asked me. Bharat put it in his mouth and he
Oh
said,
my god. Well, that's true love.
no, he wasn't. Ew, I wasn't in love with him. My boyfriend was waiting outside the class. He was an older guy. But anyway, guys, we've done such crazy shit, and it's so.
Oh
I
my
mean,
God.
that's one of the good stories. I
Yeah,
haven't even
comment
gone
and tell
there.
us what's the worst thing you've done.
We should have. So when we're at 50,000. Oh, by the way, guys, please share videos. Last time you guys shared, and our video did like 61,000. You know, we used to get 100,000, 60,000, 80,000 views, and we still have them on our channel, like back to back. Our minimum was 50,000 views. And I remember there was one video I made about Trump, and right away they clipped our algorithms. Literally, this was about a year ago. And since then, it was like 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, sometimes 30,000. Our guide said, you know what? We don't care, because our force is a frequency. Our frequency is going to explode whether or not YouTube does. You know what I mean? So now it feels like so amazing with you guys sharing and you guys like supporting in that way. We can really get more of our soul family into our ascending tribe.
So remember,
I love you
join
guys
us for
so
8-8.
much.
We'll see you guys soon for Lionsgate. And we'll have an
Yes.
amazing time. We have lots of Ascension upgrades.
Yes.
We have lots of remote healing. And we'll also have some community fun, bring people on screen.
So make
and-
sure you register, because then you'll be sent the link. It's going to happen on Zoom. Just go on EldoRa. So www.eldoraandsiman.love. And it's the first one right on top. Register for Lionsgate, and we will see you 8-8. I love you guys.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.